So what's cool is that Noelle, it's weird. We actually, this is not what this video is about, okay? It's an Ask HershNoeie. But I'm a tangenty type person. Noelle said I was, but I'm like, I'm not someone that breaks off in tangents, but I actually do. That's fine. But it's starting to get warmer weather, and so I look forward to the garden because it's just a place that I find peace. And we wanted a food forest. Remember, we were talking about that at one point. And now I think we kind of walked into a food forest by accident on our own property. It's small, it's a micro mini, but it's a potential chance for us to have a food forest because we've already got the raspberries, which were growing last year and they were bomb. And they're coming back. Then Noelle noticed that there's parsley growing at the floor of the area, but more than likely those are going to die because of the heat. Right there it gets very, very hot. So that's going to probably die out. I don't know how the parsley got there. It just got there. We may find a way to try to shade that if we can. I don't know. But then lemon balm was growing everywhere from seed. It reseeded itself. So Noelle pulled some of it up, and I said, just plant it in the back in our new little food forest. So she did. So more than likely, we're going to probably try to make a go of that and turn it into a tiny little food forest area. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, it's on our Discord. I took pictures of it. It looks pretty cool. We're going to expand on that, obviously. It's the goal is it's less yard I have to mow. So anything that requires less mowing, I'm down for. So yeah, make sure you join our Discord. I'm going to talk about it in every single video. I'm going to promote it every single time I can because it's pretty cool. I can address things instantly. Noelle is actually very interactive with it, which is pretty cool. So make sure you join our Discord. It will be down in the description box below. This is a question that someone asked on our Instagram because HershNoeie is on Instagram as well as Facebook and all these other things. And they said, "Hi Hersh, I just watched your new video on YouTube about Tacoma home prices, and I remembered a video you did in the past about what it takes to live in downtown Tacoma. I wanted to ask your honest opinion if it's still possible today and in the coming future to rent in Tacoma if I'm making $50,000 a year. I appreciate the response. Wish you the best." So thank you so much for the question. And I appreciate you watching and being a subscriber. That's great. Here's the thing. Tacoma is growing very, very fast. And I can't stress that enough. It is growing super fast to the point of there's other people have made comments that say, I can't afford it any longer. And they're making really, really, really good money. Not saying 50,000 isn't because that's good money, but they're finding it to be a lot more difficult. Here's the good news, right? Even though Tacoma's growing very, very fast and you have places where the rent is astronomical for a rental, and it's downtown. Like brewery blocks, I love brewery blocks, okay? And not just because one of the guys that's putting a store there offered me a free beer, which was, I got to take him up on that offer. That's great. I mean, there's a business going in there, and they had offered me. I talked about them online. They offered me a free drink, so I'm like, yeah, like of course I'm gonna go try out the beer. Yeah. So, and I'll do a review about it too. But anyway, aside the point. But if you're talking about brewery blocks, it is pretty pricey. But you're getting a lot. I did a video on brewery blocks. I mean, that the one that I went into is well over $1,300 a month. And so Tacoma is getting, and I think the other's $1,800. There are new apartments coming online. It's $1,800 a month. I mean, true story. It's becoming very pricey. They're building up downtown Tacoma quite a bit. There's a lot in the pipeline. Tracks is a development going in right there by Freight House Square, for example. It's going to be a big development. There's a development going over by the railroad tracks and close to where the octopus is, the metal octopus that Sound Transit put in. It's a big, giant sculpture. There's a big housing development going in there. There's one going into the downtown core that they're working on. They are doing a lot of different things. So you're seeing the development pop up here and there, and those are going to be at market rate, meaning that they are floating prices. So market rate and floating prices mean that whatever the market says, is what they're going to go for. So if there's demand and there are people who are able to satisfy that demand, it's going to continue, right? So you have a lot of at market price places downtown. Now, apartments are being developed all over. So that includes, over in Proctor. That includes over in 6th Avenue. That includes the stadium. That includes other Point Ruston. Keep in mind, Point Ruston's still growing. There's still development going on, but again, the prices are something that you have to think about. It's very expensive. But there is good news. I did say there's good news. There's good news. If you're making $50,000 a year, you're doing pretty good, right? There are still places. Now, I don't know, based on what you said, if it's just you that's moving or if it's a family. If it's you that's moving and you're wanting to rent, there's places that you can find that would be great, right? You have a lot of older buildings down there that they don't look old. Some of them have been remodeled on the inside. Orion's one of them. I don't know how good it is to live there, but I know that's one of them that was in the news that they've remodeled everything. Those are going to be buildings that are going to be a little bit cheaper, right? They're going to be a lot less money than something that's brand new, obviously. Some of these are offering perks. It's not like Seattle where they're offering you everything but the sun to move in because there's so much competition. Here, you don't have as much competition in terms of properties. You have a lot of competitions in terms of human beings. So that is one of the issues. You're starting to see waiting lists. So that is a problem. If you're looking for a home, I would say if you're going to move here in May, already start looking now. Well, this is March. So I would say start looking now or at least 3-4 months ahead of time because some of these places have a waiting list. And so they may not have anything open. And the only time they're going to know is 20 days because here, apartments, you have 20 days notice that you have to give. Most places it's a month. Here it's 20 days. So a lot of them will tell you, I don't know until another 20 days. But that's always something you have to consider. And they may say there's 15 people on the waiting list. So it doesn't even matter if they have anything available because you're not going to get it, right? That's something to think about. The good thing, I keep saying the good thing, is there's a lot of micro units. If you're a single person, micro units are probably going to be the best thing. They're tiny. Okay, they're very small, but micro units could be the way to go. If that's the case, then there's a lot of different options. One being that right there on Pacific Avenue, I don't know the name of the building, but it used to be an old hotel. And the Korean Women's Association, I believe, I don't know for sure, but someone bought that building. It's very small. Right there on Pac Avenue. They bought that building and they basically took everything on the inside of that, rerouted everything, fixed it up, and they're making it for apartments. Okay, they're micro apartments. I don't know how big they are. I don't know what they look like. None of that. But I know that they were really trying to aim their target towards university students because university housing downtown is very small. There's one building that UWT has for housing. Excuse me. And so they have a lot of students, not a lot of housing. So a lot of developers are trying to build for those students in mind, right? Because they want to keep them downtown as much as possible. And to be honest with you, a lot of students want to be downtown. You know what I mean? Like a lot of them do. It's one of the safest areas in Tacoma. Downtown is. Now, will it always stay that way? Don't know. There's been some crazy stuff recently going on, but relatively very safe. Now, with that said, that's not the only show in town. Cause Development develops and builds micro units as well. When I say micro units, we're talking something as big as the man cave. The man cave is basically a one-car garage, an old one-car garage, right? So that means your bathroom's going to be in there and everything else. You have a little small kitchenette, that type of thing. Some spaces are the size of 2 parking stalls, right? So they maybe aren't as deep as this, because this is pretty deep. This is about 25 feet this way. And about 10 feet this way. So they may not be as deep and they may not be as long, but they might be a little bit deeper. So some of them are the size of 2 car spaces. Not the size of a 2-car garage necessarily, but the size of 2 car spaces. Again, not very big. Um, but some people can make it work. Now, Cause Development has built a project right in the core of downtown, and it's on Market Street. That's an option. Now, I think that they're fully booked, more than likely. I don't think they have anything available, and they even have a certain amount of the housing set aside for lower income, right? That's their commitment, that's their goal. A lot of this is for student housing, university housing. I mean, they're not saying it's university housing, but that's who they're trying to target. Anyone can get housing there. The other project that Cause has developed is over in the Dome District. So you're still close to transit because the transit station's there in terms of the bus. It's like the huge transit hub for Tacoma. You have light rail there. You have everything. Sounder train, all of that. It's in the Dome District. They just now recently finished that. I forget now exactly what percentage, because there's a realtor guy that I know that owns buildings. He owns physical buildings. He's got some money. I forget how much he tells me the percentage of people that have filled that space up. I think last time I talked to him, this was like 3 weeks ago, he said 80%. So more than likely that building is also full. But again, these are tiny spaces, right? They're marketing it towards students. That's an option. Search Tacoma. Search Tacoma is taking the old city hall and they're turning that into a tech building. They're turning it into restaurants. It's going to be a very lively place, right? It's going to be a pretty hip and happening place. Now, here's the thing. They're not done with it yet. They're working on it. They're really trying to push forward, and they're trying to get the bell tower ready for 2021 so that whenever New Year's comes, it will ring. They're working on the inside. They're doing a lot of impressive work. If you want a place that is a 24/7 type deal, not where it's going to be loud all the time, but a place where there's, restaurants that are on site. There's a small bar on site. You're going to have a technology lab that's there and co-working spaces all in this building. This is like a 7-story building, I believe. So there's a lot going on. They do have 2 floors set aside for micro housing. Again, micro apartments. That is something you might want to get involved in. And if you do, just send me a message and I will send you the link for that. But it's Search Tacoma City Hall, Old City Hall. That's a good option also, depending upon when you're going to move here. So if you got some time, that's a good option. I don't know what the prices are going to be. The other option is Cause is developing a building in the Hilltop. Now, the way that Cause works is they build a building. When it's almost done, they build another one, and then they build another one. I don't think they've started on the one in Hilltop, but it's pretty much going to happen. Why? Because the light rail system goes through Hilltop. Now, they're probably waiting for the light rail system to be more complete before they build it, because the way Cause works is they like transit-oriented development, and they build near transit facilities. They've done that in Portland. They've done one up in Seattle. They've done 2 here that are close to transit. That's their main thing. They bought land over in Hilltop because they want to build a building there that will focus on people having less. Now, again, if you have a car, that's a problem. If you don't have a car, you're good to go. But because typically they don't have any spaces or parking there. But they're going to build a development there in the Hilltop, which will allow for people to also rent, obviously. I don't think they've started on it because I think the light rail completion is not for another couple of years. So they're probably going to wait until it gets closer to that time, then build. That's another option if you're a couple of years away. I don't know, again, what the prices are going to be. But if you are a single person, I would say micro units are probably going to be the most affordable option. And then it's not a struggle. Other than that, I would say some of the older units that are around, some of the older apartment buildings, anything that's been built in the last 5 years, you can probably count that out. Only because you could, but I would stay away from it because I'm cheap. I can afford it, but I'm just cheap and I'd rather not. So I'd rather get more bang for my buck. I'm not going to try to live in a place that, I have to, watch every time I walk out. But I want to be able to have something where I have a lot more money left over type of thing. So I would go for the older unit because I can save more money. The one thing I will say is over there where they're building or remodeling the old city hall is kind of like our entertainment district. You have McMiniman's right there, which is always packed. Then you have kind of our club. It's not really a club, but our bar district, our entertainment district right down from that. So you're sandwiched in between two active areas. So if you're all about wanting to hang out, get to know people, make friends, have fun, that is a pretty happening spot, to be honest with you. So that could be an option. Other places are going to be further into downtown, the part of downtown people don't really visit. It's not that there's anything wrong. It's just that these are areas that aren't as touristy as the other parts I mentioned. This is where the city government offices are typically, the city hall, if you will. There's a development going on right now that staggered for a bit, but they're going to complete that. I don't know if it's market rate. I think it is, but that's an option. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more than just a studio, that could be an option. If you're looking for a 2 or 3 bedroom unit, I would go for some of the older buildings because they've remodeled a lot of them. Most places downtown are going to be pretty safe. It's very convenient. You would have to just go online and look up apartments downtown. But to answer your question, could you make it on $50,000 in downtown Tacoma? Yeah, you could. You really could. The biggest issue is the waiting list. That's the big issue. Make sure that there's not one if you can. If you're looking to move here soon, I would definitely get on that and start calling around. But yeah, you could definitely do it for $50,000. If you're making $50,000 a year, yeah, as long as you don't have a whole lot of outstanding debts and car bills and stuff, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. Anyhow, I hope I answered your question. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it. Thank you for reaching out to us on Instagram. Whew, I'm going to go in here and probably get something to eat. I have a little bit of a headache. But anyhow, hope you guys like this video. Make sure you join our Discord, which is going to be down in the description box below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you. Take care.